So we're back. We're going to do document C. So if you have your booklet, please turn to page 63. Just real quick side note, before we get started, I want to just let you guys know that I will not be posting over the weekend. So on the 21st or the 22nd, we will regroup and rejoin together on the 23rd for a Google Hangout. I will send out more information on that, invitations, and post the links and everything. Please do not feel that you are required to be there. Also, I will be posting videos afterwards to let you know what we discussed and going over the information. So if you prefer this more of a format, that is perfectly fine. Students that were in the live chat today did say that they enjoyed it because they were able to ask questions in real time, and they felt it was more like a classroom setting. Plus, they enjoyed the fact that they were able to be in be in conversation, group discussion with people from different classes, different sections. So, definitely people that are on A team. So whether you're in 601 through 604, got to be able to interact with people that are in sections 605 through 608. So just something that I got some feedback on, and I enjoyed it. So I just want to be able to continue as long as it works and we're successful at it, that we can continue doing that. So again, Monday will be the next Google Hangout at noon as well. So document C. Let me again just walk you through the steps how to find the document. Document C is under the part 2 for the 2-week break part 2. Okay. So actually, let me get rid of this while I'm looking at it, because I had to delete all of my Carl and Miss Kelly videos because CNN came from Miss Kelly. And I'm not going to YouTube jail y'all. All right. So you open the 2-week break part 2. And then if you scroll down to where it says document C, page 63, okay, you can open that. It will open up for you, okay? And we have our lovely document C. Okay, we're going to give it a second for the image to load. So document C, it's the one with the picture of the boats on it, okay? Boats, yay! All right, I'm going to be looking down at my packet as well because I did a screenshot. I did so that picture, the text is it's a little blurry. So I'm just going to use my my packet here that I have. So it tells us right here at the top the source of the illustration. It's by Oliver Frey. It's in the Living in Ancient Egypt by Norman Bancroft Hunt. Who was the editor, and from 2009. Okay, it's an illustration because they did not have cameras back then, so there was no like selfies on the boat and just no photographs. So, a little side note that's over here on the side of the picture, on the side of the boat, says, "Note, the Nile River flows south to north against the prevailing northerly winds. In ancient time, boats traveling upstream against the Nile current used a sail or rowers or both. Boats traveling downstream to the north often just floated by the help of steering oars. The Nile current was about 4 knots. That's 4 miles per hour. That's like nautical, like sailor talks for you. Okay. So 1 knot is basically equivalent to 1 mile. So if we were like boating people, okay, we would say, like, if someone would say how fast we were going, we would use the measurement knots, not miles per hour. Okay. During the flooding season, it slowed down to a sluggish 1 knot, 1 mile per hour during the rest of the year. So when the water was flooded, when the river was flooded and there was lots of water, they could move pretty fast, 4 miles an hour. Remember, there were no motors. They were relying on wind and then like oars, which basically predominantly men, like means it was manually done, were trying to get down the river. So 4 knots is actually pretty decent for having to do it all by hand and or relying on the wind and current. All right, so let's look at our questions that we have here. We have 5 questions that we're going to examine today. All right, and the first one is, what is being transported by the barge, aka the vessel, pulled by tugboats? Okay, so what is being transported by the barge, which is the vessel pulled by tugboats? So it's this one right here, okay? So these images are not the clearest, okay? So they're kind of hard to see. The booklet's a little easier, but let's see if I can zoom in here and see if we can see these. Okay. So those right there, I'm just going to give this to you because there's no way that you guys would be able to figure this out. Like, it's just, they don't give the information for this, and I'm a little disappointed with the DBQ people. All right, so those are obelisks. If you've ever seen the Washington Monument, so let me show you that right now. In DC, and once you see it, you'll probably be like, oh, I know what that is. Okay, so the Washington Monument, aka a lot of my previous students have called it the pencil. You used to be able to go up into it. They just recently closed it down because it's just not structurally strong enough anymore. So this is an obelisk. Obelisk is just like a giant monument statue that sometimes you'll see smaller ones if you go to like really old cemeteries and stuff like that. But we actually, like most things in the United States, we took this from ancient Egypt's architecture, from their art. Okay, so let's go back to where we were. Okay, so we have so what's being put to, what is being pulled on this boat? Let me change my color of font real quick. I don't want it underlined. No underlined. Okay. The tugboat is, I'm sorry, not the tugboat. The vessel is carrying 2 obelisk, excuse me. No, it's obelisk. Which are most likely going to go to a temple. Because these are something for people of leadership, power. It was a status thing, okay? So, question number 2. What is likely being carried on the large sailboat? So sailboats, this is a sail, all right? Not a sail like we think of like, ooh, clearance sale or something like that. Buy one, get one free. A sail is a piece of fabric that helps direct the wind, okay? So, what is likely being carried by the large sailboat? All right, so let's think about this. What do we think is most likely being pulled from on the boat? If they're carrying an obelisk is for use for monuments or memorials, what do you think possibly could be on this boat? Like, what do you think maybe is in this box right here? Huh. I'm gonna say maybe something that's gonna be buried, like a tomb in a tomb. I'm gonna say mummies because I'm all about some mummies in my life. This is the one thing I love about teaching ancient history, and I is ancient Egypt and mummies. All right, so possibly, and I'm gonna spell possibly correctly because that's a good thing to do. Mummies to be buried. Um, okay, I know how to type it. Um, in a tomb, possibly. Like, they could be carrying mummies. If they got an obelisk, obviously someone's dead. Obviously, they're working on some sort of like monument. All right. We don't have a whole lot of information, so it could be anything. It could be grapefruit. Well, I don't think they have grapefruit there, but in Egypt, but you get what I'm saying. What direction are the sailboats, barge, and tugboats traveling? Explain your reasoning. Okay. Well, right here, I should use my cursor to point. It tells us in this little description that the first sentence says the Nile River flows south to the north, okay, against the prevailing northerly winds, okay. So, in ancient times, boats traveling upstream against the Nile current used their sails or rows for both. So, right here you can tell that the sails are being used. That's what you can see, the little like indentation, like the curve in them, that they're going with the wind. So, I would say that they're traveling south, because the prevailing winds were out of the north, which means that the sailing ships would be pointed to the opposite direction. Also, the tugs are generally used to pull barge against the current, and the currents flowed towards the north. So use tugboats. Think about like if you like playing tug of war, whether like in like PE class or if like maybe like a dog or something. Tugging is like pulling something. All right. So the tugboats are used to pull along something to get it moving. So I would definitely say that the ships are traveling south due to the fact that the sails. Notice how that word that version of sail is being spelled. It's not sail like this is for sail. It is sail like the nautical boat sail. Okay, sails are being used against the northerly winds, and I'm going to spell northerly right. And that the tugboats are being used to go against the current. Okay, I'm going to make this blue for you all. Okay. And I'm sorry if I'm going fast. I'm just trying to make sure that these videos are not 45 minutes long. Okay? Because even though normally if we were in class, I'd have you for 65 minutes, I want you to be able to focus on your actual content and actual working on the DBQs. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting emails. I just want to make sure it's nothing new that I want to be able to share with you guys. All right, question number 4. Drawing from evidence in the document, what are 5 occupations in Egypt that depend in some way on the Nile River? All right, so jobs that are dependent, jobs that rely on the river. What do you think some of those jobs would be? Well, since it's a river, I'm just looking at my notes that I have over here. So if you see me looking to the side, I'm looking at my teacher notes. An oarsman. An oar is the long piece of wood that, like, row your boat, like you use to row. So you need an oarsman and sailors. Okay, people that know how to use the wind and the sails and all that kind of stuff. Boat builders, sail makers, fishermen, farmers who depend on the river to transport for market crops, government officials who depend on receiving grain as tax payment, which is then turned into their to pay for the salaries, and then stone cutters who market stone cutters whose market those expand on river transport. So let's put this into some kid friendly, Miss Kelly friendly terms. All right. So jobs that are dependent on the river are oarsmen, sailors, fishermen, boat makers, um, farmers for transporting crops, government officials to receive payments, often grain. Okay. And grain is turned in to make, bread and a whole bunch of other things. You'd be amazed how much things that we actually have grain in them. And if you have celiac disease or gluten intolerant, like that's something, or someone that has that food sensitivity, it's in everything. So you have to be like super careful, and yeah, like pasta, all sorts of things. And then and stone cutters. So stonecutter is someone that cuts stone. And so like these obelisks and other things, and definitely in ancient Egypt, like if you're familiar with pyramids or anything like that, um, definitely. I know myself farmers and not framers. Just gonna put that out there. All right, so that's what happens when I'm trying to go fast. So, how does the document help you answer the question? How does the Nile River shape ancient Egypt? And yes, all these documents are going to go back to answering that question. This will be brought up over and over again because we want that question to stay fresh in our mind. How did the Nile help shape it? So basically, we want to reword that question. How did the Nile River impact ancient Egypt? How did it help form what ancient Egypt looked like? How did it form, create the society that ancient Egypt is known for being? We're still talking about ancient Egypt 4,000 years later, and gets a lot of respect and is held in high regards because they were so successful and they had so many positive things come out of it. So, how did it? I'm going to leave this one for you to answer. How did the basically it boils down to they use the Nile River as like a highway system. Think about it, if if Route 95 was closed down. I-95 goes all the way up, all the way from like Canada, I think. It goes all the way from the northern part of the United States all the way down into Florida. Okay? You can drive along it all the way along the East Coast. If they shut that highway down, people, truck drivers, people, buses, all sorts of things would not be able to move along the East Coast as easy because it got shut down. And that's, so food trucks, like, supply trucks for Costco, Aldi, Safeway, Giant, whomever, wouldn't be able to get there because they're trying to get the product in. And if the highway shut down, you can't do it. Same thing here in ancient Egypt. They rely on the river. So if there's a flooding issue, whether too much water, too little water, it's going to be an issue. And then there's different jobs that are also dependent on that. And we know that right now, looking at our current situation, there's a lot of jobs where people were sent home because they can't do their jobs because of current situations. Like people that are security guards are being sent home because buildings, like definitely big government buildings, are shut down. So they don't need security guards there, or janitors, or other, definitely a lot of service industry jobs are being impacted. So, and the same thing back then, if you can't use the river, you don't need boats being made. If you don't need boats being made, that means the boat makers are going to be out of a job. If the boats can't go down the river, they're not going to need oars. And they used oars, like would have to replace oars fairly frequently because they'd break or they'd fall in the water or something. So you need to buy more oars. And if you're not traveling on the water, you're not going to need oars. So think about like gas for your car. If you're not driving anywhere, you don't need gas for your car. So of course, then gas stations are going to be impacted. So just little things like that is going to impact how the Nile was shaped. It's going to create jobs. It's going to impact their travel. It's going to impact definitely it's going to control whether or not people get their food or not. Going back looking at document A, that's the map that shows where all the villages and stuff are set up. They're all along the river. They're all near the river. And they're depending on things from different parts of the country from different points on the river to help supply for them. So like we don't grow oranges here in this area in the DMV. We just don't have the right climate. So we bring them in from Florida, California, Mexico, and even other countries. We bring them in but if we can't get trucks to us or boats to us, we're not going to be able to get oranges or other fruits or other things. So it all like domino effects one thing after another. And same thing here. But I want you guys to expand on this. Use your from what we've pulled. Okay. Now, again, on Monday we're going to meet on a live chat. We'll quickly review document C, and then we're going to go over document D, which is the painting, the tomb painting. I will post a video of it afterwards, so please don't stress if you're unable to make it or you miss it for any reason, or it's just something that you're not interested in partaking in. It's up to you. This is just an option. I don't want anyone feeling too stressed to do this. I just want to make sure that you're working on your assignment, on your DBQ, that you are doing your best, and that you're reaching out if you need anything. Okay? Please also, if you're in contact with any of your classmates, please encourage them to make sure that they're working on their schoolwork, not even just Miss Kelly's classwork, but math, science, reading, health, whatever other work that you may have for your other classes. Make sure that you're reaching out to your teachers, because I'm going to let you know real quick that's going to go a long way when we return back to school. And definitely when because the grading period is ending shortly. You want them to be like, you know what? They may not have got it all together. They may not have been able to answer everything, but that kid reached out to me. That kid did ask for help, and that's going to look good for you all. Okay? So just take care. Also, real quick, I just want to put this up. I put this in my last video. Not that. This is the newest updated. It just came out yesterday from PG County of the list of schools. I think they're now up to 36 schools. I don't know. You can count. Of schools that are providing the grab and go meals. Grab and go meals are basically like sack meals, sack lunches, sack breakfast snacks and stuff that you can pick up and take. You can grab the breakfast and lunch and snack at the same time. Don't think you have to go in the morning and then come back for the lunch. So you can take it all there. It's for any child, so under the age of 18 can grab a meal to go. So unfortunately, parents cannot pick up the meals without their child being present. Parents, of course, can accompany their child, but parents can't go on like their way home from work and pick up a lunch for their kid. The kid has to be there. No, you do not need your school ID. You just need to show up and be present yourself. All right. Like I said, it's for all kids. It doesn't matter that our school is not open. You can go to any of the surrounding schools and be able to access those meals. All right. Please, 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 please do not let this situation that we're not in our school building stop you from getting your meals that you normally eat. Okay. If you need anything, please, of course, reach out to me. Let me know if there's anything I can help you with, or if you have any questions, any comments or concerns. So I'm gonna post probably a question. What would you guys think if I did? Because I can't do Carl anymore. I can't do the Carl Zeus videos anymore. What if I did an extra video that was on like this current situation that we're all in, and talking about things like maybe stress, anxiety, even gratitude? Would that be something you guys would be interested about? Hit like if you are interested in that. Like, let me know if that's something you would like to do. But anyway, I'll talk to you all later. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help you. All right. Bye, guys. Have a great one.